All right, hello everybody. Like right now, it's just me and ATC. So ATC, you asked me how my day went. Well, my day actually went pretty good. Um, you probably saw me this morning on Leto's stream. I dropped in to say hi, but even prior to that, I'd found out that I got my stimulus check. So, of course, was able to go and transfer that from my checking to my savings. So I'm pretty happy about that. Excuse me a moment. Looks like things are getting a little dim now. So that's real quick. Right there. Okay. So, anyways, and the counter's going screwing, and now it's down to zero, and now back to one, even though it started out with two. I don't think you're here. Or I don't think you left there, ATC. Hang out in chorus. So anyway, so that's pretty much how it's part of my day, and then also basically it was pretty much the same old as usual. I got up, um, got up, got my clothes together, made my bed, you know, um, checked out a couple of videos, checked out I think Flash's and Tug's videos, the first videos of the day, um, and checked in on Leto's. And showered, went up, got my energy drink, went and deposited my or transferred my stimulus money to my savings, and then came home, called a couple of friends, see how they're doing, and watched my afternoon anime block, and then watched a couple other videos, prepared for the stream, and here we are. Uh, and after I got, of course, all the work done for preparing for the stream, watched a few times over the theme from Gummy Bears because I was thinking about that the other day. So, gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. How about you, ATC? How'd your day go today? Like we're back up to two people, so that's good. Hopefully the counter will stay correct today. Hmm. Gummy bears bouncing bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. Oh, they are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Gummy juice, yeah, gummy berry juice. That will make you bounce around like a little tennis ball or something like that, right? Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. Yeah, so I was like also looking over, of course, the people who were doing the main gummy voices there. Um, Paul Winchell was doing Zummy Gummy. Paul Winchell, while he was doing Zummy Gummy, was also doing Gargamel on Smurfs. Um, Noel North, who became later known for voicing Daphne on in Scooby Doo. She voiced Cubby Gummy. Um, uh, Me and my wife went to the dentist for her checkup. Came home and I set up a donation tab on my YouTube channel, and I set up a cult 3D account to sell my stuff. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. So, yeah, we're just waiting around for people to show up on. I know Batgoat will be a little bit late because, of course, he's got his trivia tonight. Um, and Nimsy will come in later. I know, hopefully, anyways. Um, Leto, I guess, is still getting up and started getting ready for work. So hopefully, Woody and Solid will drop in pretty soon too. Sing out in chorus, marching along. Song fills the air, gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. I'll be right back. Gotta go off camera here for a quick moment. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, so we're up to 8 minutes already, and the counter's at least being consistent. Still says two here, and I know there are two of us in here. Me and you, ATC. Me and you and the dog named Boo, trying to just get along. Yeah. So, anyways, let's see now. Let's see. Well, wait a little longer. Just to see who else. Give them at least till the 15-minute mark to see if anybody else shows up. Like maybe around the 12-minute mark, we'll start talking about what's on tap for tonight. Sing out in chorus, marching along as the song fills the air. Gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as the song fills the air. Gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Let's see now. Ah, well, we'll pass the 10-minute mark. Anything else happen exciting for you today, ATC? Hmm. As I think, as you suggested yesterday, I need to wait a few minutes, wait a sec. I know the stream lags. I was asking if anything else. Oh, we have a third person here. Yay, three people. Hello, third person. All right. Okay, so let's see. I have a third person in here, so that's good. Not really been a boring day, other than what you already told me. On that third person left. Okay. Anyways, boo. Anyways, okay, so um, start looking at what's on tap for today. So I got like six stories altogether. Four from the realm of comics, two from the realm of anime, one story from bounding into comics, the other five from CBR. Among those, including Jeff Jones, or Jeff Johns. I don't know if it's Johns or Jones, JOH, and it's apparently he's a producer on one of the Superman television. He nixed the idea of Superman's grandfather being black on Krypton, um, for I guess the upcoming television series. Um, Also, Frank Frazetta Jr., who's involved with Heavy Metal number 305, doing a little piece on him. Jimmy Eat World, that band, and getting into their entry into the comics. Also, some sales information on Action Comics number one. Apparently, resold for a huge amount. We'll be looking at that. Um, a little profile piece on Spy Family, and 2VTV got some kind of a deal going. So that's all that's on tap for tonight. We're now we're almost at 14 minutes here, so we'll give it one more minute, and I will probably get going on the stories here. Long fills the air, gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Anyways. Well, at least we got on is being, for right now anyways, still being pretty good about being accurate. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air. Gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. Okay, so now we're just past the 15-minute mark. So why don't we go ahead and get started on the articles here? Okay, so I know Jeff Johns also was one of the writers I know he's done some work on like I at least know did some work on Green Lantern. I know that much. So report Jeff Johns' next idea of Superman's grandfather being black in Krypton. So I guess that's the name of the book. This, of course, is story by J.B. Augustine. So let's take a look at this. And this Krypton may be a upcoming movie, I'm guessing. So an expose on the controversy surrounding Ray Fisher's time on the set of Justice League under the supervision of director Joss Whedon and producer Jeff Johns. I guess he was a producer on this film because, in part because he, was one of the artists. I think back in the '80s. I think he was working on, including Superman being one of them. Uh, Back in the '80s, there, I recall. Um, has revealed a new piece of information pertaining to John's involvement with the Sci-Fi Channel series Krypton. And then here, I guess, is the Krypton series from 2018. Picture there. Sources close to the Hollywood Reporter learned that when Johns heard the show's creators were considering making Segel, the grandfather of Superman, a black man, he stepped in and shut the idea down. Uh, Bridgerton star John Page auditioned for the part and was favored by casting. However, overseeing the project was Johns, who vetoed the idea as he thought Superman shouldn't have a black grandfather. Now, basically, throughout all of Superman's canon, he's always been depicted as, white Caucasian. Okay, so this almost sounds like an attempt to, again, even though this is 2018, it wasn't like as much as it is now, but still, this almost sounds like pushing a woke agenda again. A representative for Johns explained to the Hollywood Reporter that the veteran creator shot down this idea because he believed fans expected the character to look like a young Henry Cavill. In a tweet following the publishing of THR's report, Fisher called this response a weak excuse, noting that Johns was okay with the Zods not resembling, you know, Man of Steel's Michael Shannon. I appreciate, and then here's a quote. I appreciate Jeff Johns bringing on a crisis team to try to explain away his discriminatory behavior. Oh boy, his excuses are weak. He wrote, if Jeff believed fans expected Superman's grandfather to look like a young Henry Cavill, why was he okay with the Zods not resembling Michael Shannon? Hmm. Fisher was then promptly corrected by Twitter user um, Dan Otaz 46 at Dan Otaz 46, who pointed out that the reason General Zod's grandparents didn't need to look like Michael Shannon was because General Zod was not played by Michael Shannon on the Krypton TV series. Oh boy! So in their attempt at being woke, they didn't even get the actor right who was playing the character they were comparing him to. Oh boy! At least In the series, Zod is played by Arrow actor Colin Salmon, Walter Steele. I guess Walter Steele is his real name. A fact Fisher might not have been aware of. And then I guess this is the actual tweet. I guess he goes by the name Stitch King Dan Otaz. Oh please, if Ray Fisher would have watched the Krypton TV series, he would know that the reason General Zod's grandparents didn't need to look like Michael Shannon was because General Zod was not played by Michael Shannon on the Krypton TV series. The report also claims Johns vetoed an idea that creators had to make Adam Strange gay or bisexual. In his defense, the rep noted that Johns was not anti LGBTQ by pointing to his history of reintroducing Kate Kane to the DCU as a lesbian version of Batwoman. Jeff celebrates and supports LGBTQ characters, including Batwoman, who in 2006 was reintroduced as an LGBTQ in a comic book series co-written by Johns, the rep said in an email. Now, a little bit more deeper history on that, and I've talked about this before. Okay, so yeah, they're talking about Kate Kane. Kate Kane's depiction of Batwoman in the more modern version of the Batwoman story. Um, However, originally Batwoman was Kathy Kane. Now, and kind of an interesting little twist here. The reason that Kathy Kane, along with her niece Betty Kane, were originally introduced into the DCU back in the 50s. This was back in the 50s when Kathy and Betty Kane were originally introduced to the DCU. Part of the reason they were actually introduced was to give Batman and Robin, straight romantic love interest to kind of curb the idea that was being pushed in Dr. Frederick Worthen's book Seduction of Innocence, in which one of the claims he had against comic books as them leading to juvenile delinquency was suggesting that Batman and Robin were involved in a gay relationship and pointing to a number of factors, including the lack of women in their lives, the fact that in some comic stories it showed them. Now, remember too, they were originally introduced back in the late 30s, but the depiction is as everybody knows, of course, Bruce Wayne did eventually adopt Dick Grayson, but one of the claims that made it suggest that they were involved in a gay relationship was that Bruce and Dick slept in the same bed. Now, mind you, Grant, I know Bruce Wayne was rich, but I think back in those days that might have been a bit more common occurrence that people shared a bed, and it didn't have anything to do. It did not have anything to do with sex. They just shared a bed because um, I know actually in some Squibbly stories, Squibbly and his brother Dinky, I've seen panels where they've shared a bed. Now, that's two brothers sharing a bed. You've seen if you've seen, in some of the stories I've seen from the 30s and 40s, you'd have some instances where siblings would share a bed. I mean, if you even saw cartoons back then, you'd see kids, 5, 6 kids in one bed at times. But it had nothing. There was nothing sexual about it. But because, of course, this was Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, an adult male and a kid who was not a blood relative, Frederick Worthen decided to, I guess, interpret it as being something more. And of course, he would even point out that the fact that he had the male butler too, that only strengthened the whole thing. So once Seduction of Innocence came out, and you got the Comics Code Authority um, established, they needed to introduce two female characters to act as I said, love interest for Bruce and Dick. Kathy Kane for Bruce and Betty Kane for Dick in in the Batman series. So that was the original Batwoman, and I'm down to one person again. AGC, you still here, man? uh, Still here, ATC. But anyways, that's the backstory on introduction of Batwoman in the comics, historically. And then, of course, I think it was sometime in the 2000s that and in fact, I think there was even one point where um, Renee Montoya, who was introduced in the Batman the Animated Series cartoon of the 90s. She was originally introduced along with Harley Quinn and a few others, the DCAU, who made their way into the comics. And there was a suggestion that Renee and Kate in the comics were also involved in this case, a lesbian relationship. So now we're back up to two people. That's good. So, anyways, back to the article here. Now that I gave all that, the rep added Johns pitched a television show around the first LGBTQ lead DC superhero, Batwoman, which is still on the air at the CW with Johns listed as executive producer. And of course, we all know Flash's criticism on that, you know, where maybe they're trying to push the whole woke agenda a bit too far. Anyways, as we move on, um, the Hollywood Reporter also reached out to former Superman and Lois writer Nadria Tucker, who told them Johns, whom she hasn't talked to since Krypton was in production, objected when a black female character's hairstyle was changed in scenes that took place on different days. I said, Black women, we tend to change our hair frequently. It's not weird, it's a black thing, Tucker stated. And he said, no, it's not. John's rep clarified the hair was a continuity concern, and Tucker is blowing things out of proportion. What what were standard continuity notes for a scene are being spun in a way that are not only personally offensive to Jeff, but to the people that know who he is, know the work he's done, and know the life he lives, as Jeff has personally seen firsthand the painful effects of racial stereotypes concerning hair and other cultural stereotypes. Having been married to a black woman who he was with for a decade, and with his second wife, who is Asian American, as well as his son, who is mixed race, the rep said. Yeah, it sounds like another woke article. Don't another stage of woke people just trying to be stupid again. Sorry, Mike. I'm here. Was just having a talk with Mrs. Joyce. Ah, okay. Looks like we have a third person. Yay, three. Well, there was a third, and then they left again. Oh well. Oh poo. But anyways, just as I noticed that we had three people, they Um, Seeing his friend and colleague being hammered, Cyberfrog and Rainbow the Brute creator Ethan Van Sciver shared his disgust with the situation. Watching Jeff Jones being degraded as a racist and canceled makes me physically ill, he wrote on Twitter. He is one of the most gifted and talented creators of the last few decades, someone who knows DC characters inside and out. After having seen Hollywood's bleak take on them, his fight is real. Yeah. EVS followed up his tweet by sending Jeff Johns a plea. Let them have the carcass of the creative industry that they wrecked, Jeff. You did all you could, he said. As the comics business collapses and DC Comics becomes insolvent, you'll still have your talent. They'll only have the ashes, and I hope they choke on them. Whoa, that's some pretty strong language there, Mr. Van Sciver. Uncle EBS. Uncle Ethan. Very strong language, but some very poignant language as well. Yeah. So yeah. So at least that's far. That's what we're talking about here. And I guess there's a picture of Van Sciver on the right there. Of course, Ethan Van Sciver Twitter. Do you agree with Van Sciver that Jeff Johns is being unfairly railroaded? Also, do you think DC will collapse? Give us your answer below. Well, I know there are a few people who think that DC's collapsing, Mar- Marvel's collapsing faster. If you listen to Yellow Flash and Tug, um, they've been talking a lot about that. Over the past year or so, that due to the fact they're going in this kind of woke direction, it's just it's just proving to be kind of a poison pill for them to swallow, as it were. So, anyways, so with that, let's get ready to move on to the next article I'll be reading. Get that one over there. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Fine adventure that beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Courageous and caring. So here's the next story we're going to look at here. Let's see if there's any new comments here. Well, let's see. All right, let's see. EBS tells it how it is. Yeah, the comics industry is already collapsing. Yeah, that's a common shared belief there, and a lot of them are blaming COVID, but COVID's only accelerating the process. It's really the fact they just keep going this woke route that is really hurting them. Anyways, as we move on to the next story here, Frank Frazetta Jr. shines the spotlight on his father in Heavy Metal number 305 exclusive. CBR presents an exclusive look at Heavy Metal number 305, which features an in depth interview with Frank Frazetta Jr. about his father's story career. So, Frank Frazetta Sr., I guess. In Heavy Metal number 305, Frank Frazetta Jr. goes in depth with Joshua Sky about his father, Frank Frazetta's illustrious art career, and CBR can exclusively reveal several excerpts and images from the new issue. Art and Hollywood were never his sole focus, Frazetta Jr. said of his father. It was always family first. He was a private individual, deeply dedicated to his wife and children. He wasn't into flash, nor fame, or fortune. He could have had anything in the world. We were offered $92 million for all the art in the museum, and I told them it's not for sale. Comic Con offered him tens of thousands of dollars every year just to sit in a booth. I'd beg him to go, but he wouldn't. He was very selective with what he wanted to do. Like a guy who cares more about his work and the art than anything else. Here's some more of his interesting look there. Guess that's a take on Conan, maybe. Rosetta is widely known for his work on Conan the Barbarian. I was right. I was right. I had a feeling that was Conan the Barbarian. I was already thinking that. Oh, and of course, the person left again. The third person left. That kind of sucks. But, anyways, um, among other properties, Frazetta Jr. said his father would labor on some Conan paintings for 2 days straight, adding that his father quite literally threw himself into his work. If, in brackets, you look closely at the Frazetta portraits used for Conan covers, his face is my father's, his body is my father's when he was young. Regarding the Frazetta Museum, Frazetta Jr. explained, we've got a really exciting project coming up. We are going to display my father's works in chronological order from when he was 3 years old all the way to his elder years. And there is plenty we have that no one has ever seen. Wow. I mean, that's it. I mean, so you get not only get a famous artist's famous work, but you get his, like, maybe some of his doodles from when he was a kid, too, long before he became a famous artist. Now, that sounds pretty cool. Let's see now. And I know ATZ had said laugh out loud. It all came straight from his imagination, Frazetta Jr. said when discussing how his father came up with his compositions. He just had a gift at such a high level, it can't be acquired or learned. You have to have it at birth. He would really, he worked really hard to master what he does. His drawings are second to none. He's a better illustrator than um, he's a better illustrator than he was a painter. No one could compare to him. That's what he told me. In 5 minutes, he could do the most beautiful sketch you ever saw. The image could come from any subject matter, an airplane, a rabbit, a cat. He had a photographic memory. He could draw anything at any time. I used to hold my belly from laughing. It seemed so impossible he could hang out an amazing scene or portrait in a matter of seconds or minutes. Rosetta, Romero, Sears, Medney, Yapor, Irwin, Mars, Columbus, Smith, Armitano. Heavy Metal number 305. I guess that's the face of Frank Frazetta Sr. right there. Heavy Metal number 305 is now on sale. So there we go. Song fills the air. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. So now we're at 41 minutes. We're about a third of the way through the content thus far. So I get ready to move on to the next story here. Here we go. Jimmy Eat World's Jim Atkins opens up about branching into comics with Z2. Yeah, Jimmy Eat World is I know the rock band. I think their big hit was The Middle. Just take some time in the middle of your life. Everything be all right. Everything. So yeah, so I guess they're getting into they're getting into the realm of comics here, Jimmy Eat World. So let's go ahead and get into this article then. Jimmy Eat. Okay, so we already read that. Jimmy Eat World frontman Jim Adkins spoke with CBR about adapting the band's song 555 into an original graphic novel with Z2 Comics. And I believe there have been a few bands that I guess have been doing this of late. Because I know we read another article. What was it, a week or so ago? Kind of the same thing. Let's get into this. Oh wow! Look at that. Ah, for its latest eagerly anticipated musician team up, Z2 Comics and Jimmy Eat World frontman Jim Atkins have crafted an original graphic novel adaptation of the band's song 555. And excuse me a moment while I go off camera for a quick sec. Right back. All right, I'm back. Okay, I'm available to chat, laugh out loud. ah, let's see. Joined by co-writer Alex Packnadell and artist Corin Shadimi or Shadmi, the story expands on the music video from the 2019 song as the alien overlord Clark looks over his science fiction factory run by an army of clones, only for the factory's impending closure to make him realize how expendable he truly is. After an enormously successful initial pre order run, a limited restock of the hardcover edition, hand signed by Atkins, will be available through Z2 for pre order live on Thursday, April 8th at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow, of course. That'll be 8 a.m. Pacific my time. So, so yeah. In an exclusive interview with CBR, Atkins talked about his 80s music video inspirations for creating the sci fi world of Jimmy Eat World 555. Um, the sense of place that grounds Jimmy Eat World's lyrics and how Packnadell and Shadney nailed the adaptation from Atkins' plans. The short, yeah. What this kind of reminds it's right. This the 555 reminds me of a story I heard once years ago. Um, so I don't know if you remember, and I know ATC. You're as far as I know, you're the only one who's in here. I don't know if you had see what you're saying. There. Remember with when you could tell if an upcoming toy was going to be successful because they released a comic book about it. Toys spawning comics was a guaranteed success. Yeah. Well, this 555 thing kind of reminds me of a story I remember hearing a long time ago. Um, I don't know if you ever heard this song ATC. There was a song by an artist named Tommy Two Tone called 8675309 Jenny, which caused a lot of caused a lot of problems back in the 80s. I think it came out sometime in the mid 80s. It was 8675309 8675309 8675309 Jenny, Jenny, who can I turn to? Well, what ended up happening is that a number of people started calling that number, apparently, looking for Jenny. And so I guess because of the chaos that acknowledged it, this is a story I heard. I don't know how much of this is true, but supposedly after that fiasco, they decided to. I don't know if it was made a rule, law, or just a general practice, but any time you needed to depict a fictional phone number on in any form of media, they had to use 5551212. I don't know if that was again. I don't remember if that was like the law or something to that effect, but I believe I remember hearing something about that where they said that you had to start in fiction now you had to utilize that number. I think in certain like maybe at least television or something like that. I again don't know for certain if that's the case. And I'm back down to one person again. Boo. Oh well, the YouTube counter still says 3. So anyways, and yeah, and now StreamYard's back up to 3. Yay! So it's good, and it's good to see a third person. And as always, guys, of course, I do appreciate all any likes and shares you guys want to help with the algorithm there. That's also appreciated. So, anyways, going on with this article here. The sense of place that grounds Jimmy Eat World lyrics and how um, Packnadell and Shadme nailed um, nailed the adaptation from Atkins' plans for the story. And I guess this is a video of that interview. Jim Atkins on his new graphic novel. Again, if you guys want to find that, you can probably go look at that up. I guess here's actually the actual interview here. CBR. Sonically, 555 is unlike anything you guys have done before. What made you want to adapt it into a science fiction graphic novel? Jim Atkins' response. The comic adaptation kind of stems from the characters of the video. I don't think it's necessarily that much an outlier when you're taking into consideration everything we've done. But definitely on our album Surviving, That's mostly guitar rock, a collection of guitar rock ideas, and then there's 555, um, which is not. And he laughs. But I don't think it's crazy outside of the boundaries of what we like to do. But it was definitely an outlier, so there was room to go far away from the typical visual side of things that we put out. 80s MTV is just scorched into my brain, into my psyche, into my soul. Def Leppard with giant swords, the Thunderdome thing in Rocky Like a Hurricane. I thought that stuff was badass. Um, those sort of elements are just a part of me. I really like the Bop Till You Drop music video by Rick Springfield. Of course, Rick Springfield's most famous hit is Jesse's Girl. Um, Excuse me again, I do need to go off camera here for a quick sec. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Okay. Uh, where there's a reptilian overlord person overseeing these workers doing plumbing work, and then Rick Springfield appears and leads a revolution based in music, rising up against their captors. The song 555 is about acceptance, how a lot of time the problems we have in our lives are our own fault and our own making. We have a lot more to do with the things that we think are a struggle that we give ourselves credit for, and you look for other places to put that blame on. That leads you down a really negative, dark path that you're not getting out of because you'll continue to rationalize that things are stacked against you. If you look for reasons to think things are going against you, you're going to find them. Quite true. That doesn't mean they're 100% true. What I was saying that's true is just me commenting on, yeah, sometimes you can make mountains out of molehills, you know. Uh, in thinking about that, and also thinking about the kind of videos that I love, this idea that these characters, from their perspective, they've having a really bad day or just in a funk, you really shouldn't have any sympathy for them. Like the lizard overlord from Bop Till You Drop, from his perspective, he's having a really bad day. It's a bad day at the office. Like, I've got to be stuck down here and it's hot and humid and the entertainment sucks. Where did this revolution come from? Come on. Or the executioner from Blazing Saddles. That's what got me thinking of what would be fun and funny to do for a video for us. To make it connect for me personally, I have to, in brackets, know who are these people. Yes, it's wacky and it looks insane, but what's the world behind this? Who are the characters? Why are these minion people clones? And what is this guy's personal struggle? And why should not have any why you should not have any empathy for them. I had to know the backstory behind that, and it just sort of lent itself to more development because you don't that story in the video about the song. A comic adaptation seemed the best way to let that breathe more. And here's CBR's next question here. So we're at 56 minutes already, and it's still just been the two of us, toys for the most part. I remember seeing an interview you did with Gerard Way, who this is a question from CBR here, who has certainly steeped in comic work. You had compared the process of handing off a song to a band, producer, and engineer to getting a comic done. Now that you're on the other side of that process, would you agree with that analogy? Atkins, I guess it just depends on how you're working and what your individual process is. It's fascinating how much the illustrator works with the writer, or how a writer would break down what's being said on the scene itself. I think it's more of a band editing process than handing it off to a producer. Probably happens any number of ways. And here's some of the artwork. Look at that guy doing some chest press in a space gym there. With that in mind, how was it working with Alex Packnadell and Corin Shadney, and seeing these pages come in? Atkins in response. I guess Alex and Corin were kind of like the band, and I was sort of the producer. And then he laughs. I talked with Alex first about the potential story and explained to him as fleshed out a character presentation as I had and a general idea of the arc of Clark's journey. The protagonist, Clark, he laughs again. I picked out Corin because of his work. It's the perfect vibe, the perfect mix of sci-fi, fantasy, and atmosphere that I thought would be perfect for this. And then I just sort of got out of the way. I think because we had done such good work setting up and providing an environment to explore, I had no notes the entire time going back and forth with them because they're just they just nailed it. Here's some more of the artwork. Oh, look at that kind of look at that left panel right there, that kind of bubbling, and then you have what is that? Protoplasm, maybe. Look at that. Ugh. And then CBR asked, "It never clashed with your vision of the story." And then Atkins replies, "Yeah, I was looking for it to go to a place where it wasn't my own micromanagement creation. I wanted the extra stuff to come in. I've only tried writing outside of song once, and it was really hard." And then he laughs again. And then CBR asked, something I've always loved about Jimmy Eat World is how visually evocative your lyrics are. Pole Roger feels like Midnight in Paris, and even something as power poppy as a praise chorus has a sliding doors thing going on. I've always loved those storytelling sensibilities in the lyrics. Was it easy to come up with a sci-fi story for 555? Atkins in his response goes, "Oh yeah, totally. It was really easy. There's always a sense of place. There's always a setting that I like to build into our songs. It might not be at all what someone else picks up on as a setting, but for me, I get excited when I listen to music and can think back and get a sense, a sense of place around it. If I can imagine myself in an environment, then it's working. Sometimes that leads to choosing imagery in the lyrics, like Pole Roger, um, in just describing a scene. Sometimes I hear it and I feel that I'm in the scene like a praise chorus. There's some interesting perspective here going on. Leto's here finally. And my counter's still reading only one watching. Always, I do appreciate any and all likes you guys can help out with. Um, about with the algorithm there and all that. Let's see now. Let's see now. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we knew that. How about that? I don't think it's protoplasm, but something because apparently, according to the description, it has something to do with them making, I think, robots or something. But obviously, some kind of gooey something looks like. Hey, Mike Toys. Hey, Leto. How you doing, man? How y'all doing? We're basically we're we're basically about almost halfway through the stories. I do like Jimmy Eat World. Well, this interview is about a comic they're doing with Z2 Comics, based on their song 555. Laugh out loud. I'm feeling really good and tired. Me and Mrs. Toys had a talk. Laugh out loud. A talk? Yeah, a talk. Y'all okay? Yeah, I'm good, Mike. So that's where we're at. So continue with the article here. So CBR asks, yeah, I always think about the bridge in that song, which references the songs Crimson and Clover and Our House in the middle of the street. Crimson and Clover was a song back in the 60s, and Our House is a song in the 80s. There's something evocative and atmospheric about that. And Atkins replies, yeah, each one of those things is like a mini trigger that sends you down where you were as a kid. If you're my age as a kid, it sends you somewhere, and that association is what makes music special. When you can build that for yourself, when you live with something, and it becomes like, oh my god, this is our house in the middle of our street, our house. I feel like I'm in the car heading to fourth grade, Oh wait, that's what it was. Anyways, okay. Heading to fourth grade. I'm on a road trip to Disneyland right now, and going to San Diego with my family, and our house is on the radio. When you take the time to live with music, you start to build those associations with it, and then it's yours, and it's powerful. Or the panels from the comic here. How is it transposing that verisimilitude to such a far out concept? Atkins responds, I think it's from nothing. I think it's from rooting it in something very real and something foundational, like discovering you are wrong and then seeing a personal benefit, or when you admit to yourself that you're wrong and try to take action on whatever it is that's happening. Instead of doubling down, just trying to protect your ego, when you're willing to let some of that in and go with it and see that you don't die. And you end up in a place that's better, that's powerful, and that's a human experience. And if you can get a little bit of that into the journey of an imaginary evil overlord overseeing a workforce of clones in such in some other galaxy, that's a win. Initial pre-orders to this book. Okay, so CBR is asking here. Initial pre-orders to this book have been bananas. Having gone through this experience, would you adapt another song like this? And then Atkins replies, I've thought about that sense of place I talked about. There's definitely some of those where it puts me in a real place. Sometimes that's a fantasy place, an unreal place, not my life experience place, like a galactic penal colony or whatever. Short answer, yes. I kind of went elaborate, then just said, yeah, short answer, yes. Kind of, and then here's some more of the panels here from that. Let's see. How about loud? I'm tired and hungry, feeling drained, but I think I want to go again. Laugh out loud. I mean, talk. Laugh out loud. All right. I hate to say this, but I'm going to start driving right now to work, but I'll be listening. Right? Oh, a talk. Laugh out loud. Go talk her up. Okay, I think I have a feeling that may mean something else. Something that maybe we can't really say too much on stream here. Uh, drive safe. Thanks, Joyce. We're past the hour mark already. Okay, so now that these pages are coming in, what are you most excited about to get to share this book with fans and readers? Adkins. It's just something new, and I'm excited about how it turned out. Corin and Alex, they killed it. They mailed it. They nailed it. It's amazing. I take no credit for any of their work. It's a true collaborative work, and when you do that, it's always exciting to wind up someplace you didn't expect. I don't know how I'm going to move forward and try that again. Maybe it's a comic, maybe it's a film. I don't know, but it's definitely encouraging. You take on a challenge, and when you accomplish that, it brings a sense of momentum, and maybe you try something even more ambitious next time. Um, I'm just excited to to bleeping work again, dude. A laughs. That's where I'm at. Written by Jim Atkins and Alex Packnadal, and illustrated by Corin Shadme. Jimmy World 555 is available to order now through Z2 Comics and expect to ship May 21st, so next month. So, there we go. There's that one. And of course, the interviews usually take a little longer, so let's see. And nothing new there yet. Song fills the air, gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. So we're halfway through the stories already. There are 6 of them. Went through the first, went through the Jeff John story, the Frank Frazetta story, and Jimmy World story. Now the 4th and final comic story of the night is this one, in regards to Action Comics #1 here. High grade Action Comics #1 sells for a record-setting $3.25 million. Wow, considering that back when it was first out, it sold for 10 cents, but now it's selling for over $3 million. A rare high-grade copy of Action Comics #1, the issue featuring Superman's first appearance, sold for a record $3.25 million in a private sale. Kind of that iconic cover of Superman picking up the car. You got the bad guys all running scared. A private seller acquired a high-grade copy of Action Comics #1 for $3.25 million, beating the previous record of $3.2 million. Wow. So a $50,000 increase in that. Collectibles auction firm ComicConnect.com handled the transaction, reported USA Today. The rare copy sold for about $1 million above the seller's purchase price. Vincent Zerzolo, co-founder and chief operating officer of ComicConnect.com, said Action Comics #1 really is the beginning of the superhero genre. There aren't more than 100 copies remaining from the original print run, and few are in good condition. This particular copy was well preserved, Cerzolo said, noting there's no comic book that you could value higher in terms of comic book than Action Comics #1. Action Comics #1, cover dated June 1938, featured the debut story of Superman, the new superhero created by writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster. And we've been seeing a lot of their work from around that time, including Slam Bradley, Dr. Occult, Federal Man, and Radio Squad. Let's see. Soon became the lead feature in the anthology title, although he wasn't consistently on the cover, save for a blurb until issue number 19. Superman went on to inspire the creation of a new genre of comics that appear in multiple comic titles, film serials, animated shorts, TV shows, and big budget movies over the next 80 plus years. It's true. A pristine copy of Adventure Comics number 1 sold in 2014 on eBay in a private sale, and the seller donated part of the proceeds to the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, which researches cures and treatments for spinal cord injuries. A copy of the book, once owned by actor Nicolas Cage, sold for 2.16 million in 2011. And there you go. So we've gotten through four of the six stories tonight. We're done with the comic stories. Now there's a couple anime stories I'll get to here. And apparently there's not much more being said right now. Hmm. Be prepared to. Here's pretty much the last two stories of the night here in the anime. See, we're at an hour and 17, so we're actually making good time. That interview really helped stretch out the time a bit, so that's good to see. So here we go. Here's the next story. Here's the first of our anime stories for the night. Shonen Jump's Spy Family, plot, characters, and how to get started. Tatsuya Endo's Spy Family. And just in case you're asking me why I'm not reading the X, in as I understand it, in Japanese, the X is more like a punctuation mark. So, Hunter x Hunter, for example, Spy Family is a Shonen Jump fan favorite and absolute must read. Here's how to get in on the hit spy comedy. There's some artwork there. Tatsuya Endo's ongoing Spy Family doesn't have an anime adaptation yet, but already this Shonen Jump manga has been making waves. With only 6 volumes out, this spy action comedy series is quickly rising in popularity, hitting over 8 million copies sold and counting. And it's no wonder fans love Spy Family. With a cast of quirky, hilarious characters, a suspenseful undertone, with everyone trying to keep their identities a secret, and political intrigue, there's something for everyone. With the series gaining more and more attention, now's a great time to start reading the manga. Here's how you can get started with the Jump Breakout series, Spy Family. Okay. Now we have some more people in here. Hey, Anon, how you doing, man? Hey, how's it going? Just got home and going to grab a bite to eat. Yeah, we've already covered 4 to 6 stories tonight, Anon. Um, Always I do, of course, appreciate any and all likes. Evening, everyone. Anon. I know we got more than 2 people watching here. Yeah, there's 4 of us in here. I'm pretty sure of that. And then, of course, letters saying hi to Anon as well, anonymity. What a wonderful family you are. Spy Family's plot, or Spy Family's plot. Spy Family follows elite spy agent Twilight as he's given one of the most important assignments of his life, Operation Strix. The mission to get close to the reclusive Donovan Desmond, the National Unity Party leader, and prevent him from disrupting the tenuous peace between the nations of Ostania and Westalis. To do that, he must somehow create a family out of thin air, enroll his child in Eden Academy, where Donovan is rumored to make occasional appearances. Twilight does manage to find a wife and a daughter in less than a week under the appropriate but fake name Forger. Forger. Okay. Yeah, that would, I guess, be an appropriate but fake name. But little does he know he's not the only one keeping a secret. His wife, Yor, um, is an assassin, and his daughter, Anya, is a telepath. Oh, this sounds like a very interesting manga. Very interesting plot points here. Aside from the intriguing setup, one of the strengths of Spy Family is the characters, especially the members of the Forger family. All three of them do their best to act like a regular family, and often leads to hilarity as they struggle to balance their double lives. Although the overarching plot is Twilight's mission, what makes Spy Family one of the best and heartwarming series shown in Jump is how this unlikely trio slowly becomes a real family in their own right. That is kind of fun. Well, a lot of the stuff that's come out of Shonen Jump, Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, Bleach, they always have these interesting story twists as part of their content. It is it is kind of interesting. Spy Family's characters. So there you got in the back there you got Twilight holding the gun, your black haired beauty right there, and then little pink haired telepath girl acting as basically portraying the daughter of the two. Now that's got to be kind of an interesting attempt to explain that one. You got kind of a platinum haired guy and a black haired girl, and they have a daughter who is pink hair. I explained that one three times fast. Ah. All right. So, anyway, so here we go. Let's continue with the article here. The main hero of Spy Family is the suave and smooth spy Twilight, who goes undercover as Lloyd Forger, a psychiatrist. Okay. As Twilight, Lloyd is coldly efficient when completing his missions, but his kindness shines when he's with Yor and Anya, the telepath. As focused as he is on his mission, Lloyd um, often finds himself caught off guard by his new family. As a spy, Lloyd made the choice to dedicate himself to his job in the hopes of creating a world where no child would cry. This means he'd abandoned any prospects of having a normal life, friends, or family. So the ease with which he settles into the role of a father surprises even him. Like, probably people around him saying, "Man, we didn't know you had that in you, did?" Your Briar, Lloyd's quote unquote wife, is a seemingly ditzy civil servant who has trouble fitting in. However, she's actually an accomplished and incredibly strong assassin called the Thorn, the Thorn Princess. She became an assassin to support herself and her younger brother, Yuri. Yor and Yuri, that's an interesting combo right there, who has his own secret, of course, after their parents died when they were young, which explains how earnest she is in her role as Anya's adoptive mother. The combination of Yor's cluelessness and her killer instinct is what makes her so much fun. Yeah, I can see that kind of. It's like she's all happy and ditzy one minute, and then cold and dark the next. That would be a very interesting situation to partake in. Let's see. And the most recent chapter promises that we'll see even more of her in the future. One of the funniest characters in the series, 40-year-old Anya, is adopted by Lloyd after she impresses him with her intelligence. The plot twist? Anya isn't that bright. The only reason she ever seems smart is that she can read minds, the result of mysterious experiments that were performed on her. Anya is a fan favorite with her goofy expressions and her constant misunderstanding of what's happening around her, because she's, after all, just a child. Anya later gets attached to an enormous and fluffy dog who she names Bond after her favorite spy cartoons, who also happens to be able to see the future. So not only does the little girl, okay, so the little girl's a telepath, and the dog has precognition. What a combination! What a very interesting psychic combination right there. Ah, and of course, okay, so YouTube saying two are watching. StreamYard is saying one. I would think there's okay. StreamYard's not saying two again. I would think there's actually four people watching now. The catalyst for Operation Strix, Donovan Desmond, has so far remained elusive. We get a sense of how dangerous he is through how his son Damien both fears and loves him. With Anya's abysmal grades at the academy precluding her from joining Desmond's elite academic circle, Lloyd instead resolves to have her get close to Damien. Unfortunately, the two kids don't get along at all, making even that an uphill battle. Where to read, Spy Family? Oh, look at that! Hot mama! Whoa! Look at that, boys! Hot mama! You guys see that? I'll leave that up there for a moment. Let you guys take a good look at that. Anybody wanna check that out? And I know Toys and Leto are married men, so still, Anon's our ladies' man. Maybe he wants some of that action. Waifu. Yeah, she. I think she is a waifu there. Anon. Waifu, waifu, waifu. Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, as we continue on with the article here, I guess article's about to finish up here. Spy Family's chapters are released bi-weekly and can be found on Viz Media's official website. The physical volumes can be bought on Amazon, Indigo, Right Stuff, and your local comic shop at varying prices. If you want to read it digitally, the series is available on platforms like the official Shonen Jump app, Shueisha's Manga Plus website app, Google Play, iBooks, Kindle, and Nook. Digital copies can also be found on Amazon, Comixology, and Indigo. So there's that story. See where we at on time there. So we're actually hour and 32 minutes. So actually we made good time. I'm down to the last story here. Last main story we're gonna get to tonight. This Tubi story. You guys still here? Excuse me a moment. All right. Anyways, back now. Actually, excuse me a moment. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna go some water. All right, I'm back. Just had to go grab some water, guys. So yeah, laugh out loud. The abandonment. Okay. Uh, all right. So I just got the notification that Nick's stream's going to be on tonight. So apparently saying mistakes were made and Razor Fist calls him out. So anyway, so here's our last story of the night. Um, see, we're at an hour 37, so we'll probably wrap this up. We'll probably start wrapping this up right after this story because we're we really went long tonight. So after a couple of short nights there, to be partners with Shout Factory. Excuse me a moment, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. My dog was acting up. So let's see. We got um. No, we have a few comments apparently came through here. Would anyone want to see a custom toy build? If so, what would you want to see? Laugh out loud. Um, out loud, a boomerang. Laugh out loud. Toys, I wouldn't even know. uh, um, what was your favorite toy growing up, Anon? And then, man, I had so many, but I think the ones I played with the longest were Legos and Kinects. Ha ha ha. All right. So, anyways, let's try to get through this last article. I know we're already at hour 41 now. So, Tubi partners with Shout Factory to expand anime film slate. Free streaming service Tubi will add a dozen new anime titles to its library of over 30,000 options this month when it partners with Shout Factory. Tubi free movies and TV. Tubi, the free streaming division of Fox Entertainment, announced today that it will partner with Shout Factory to bring a collection of premium anime films to the service. Several critically acclaimed and award winning titles will become available, such as Satoshi Kon's Millennium Actress, Liz and the Bluebird, and In This Corner of the World, along with several other popular titles. Most of the films will be available in both subtitled and dubbed versions for free, with ads beginning April 8th. Head of new content sales at Shout Factory, Julie Dansker, said, "We are thrilled to further expand our partnership with Tubi, make our award winning Japanese anime available to an even wider audience." Tubi has a significant audience of anime lovers, and our latest editions from Shout Factory will soon give them even more of what they've been binging, said Chief Content Officer for Tubi, Adam Lewinson. The full list of Shout Factory titles coming to Tubi TV is below: Millennium Actress, Liz and the Bluebird, um, Makia, When the Promised Flower Blooms, Penguin Highway, The Wonderland, Sound Euphonium, a movie. Welcome to the Kintanji High School Concert Band. Sound Euphonium, the movie. May the Melody Reach You. Sound Euphonium, the movie. Our Promise, A Brand New Day. Ikana-san, Here Comes Miss Modern, Parts 1 and 2. Oten, Laughing Under the Clouds. Gaiden, 1 year after the battle. The tragedy of Fuma Ninja Tribe. And Conspiracy of the Military in This Corner of the World. With more than 30,000 movies and television shows from over 250 content partners, Tubi makes a wide range of content available for fans of all kinds. It is widely available on a variety of platforms such as Roku, Comcast, Xfinity, X1, Amazon, Fire TV, PlayStation 5, on PlayStation 5 on iOS and Android mobile services, or on its own website. Here you go. So that's it for the main stories tonight, guys. Got through them all. I didn't even realize I kept that on. Oopsie. Anyway, so Mighty Max type of stuff ain't on. I had a laundry tub full of gave them to my little cousins years ago. Let's see. Um Sweet, I bet they love them. Um I had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle dome thing. Also had Krang. Ha ha ha. They better have uh the Technodome. That thing is cash money if it's complete. Technodome, I missed that thing. The giant eye on top. The thing had a ton of pieces, if I remember. Lots of cool stuff, Anon. Sweet stories, Mike. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed them. There were some pretty interesting ones there, including that interview with the guy from Jimmy Eat World. That one was pretty good. And if you guys missed any of the stories, you guys know you can always go back and watch the stream again to catch any stories that you missed if you want to go back and try to catch some of them. One thing I loved as a kid, it was the boys' version of Easy Bake Oven, where you'd make like gummy bugs and other things. Loved that thing too. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. And YouTube Scrappy with all the counter problems again. Creepy crawlers. Oh, I also had like 70s versions of the X-Men toys. They were made out of rubber. Now we're back up to 3. There we go. Creepy crawlers. Sounds like it's right. All right, guys. Well, we're at an hour and 48 minutes, coming on an hour 49. So I think it's about time to start wrapping up here. So are you guys ready for this day in Neat's history? Let's see now. Neat it up. Besto thine niche upon Anon laugh out loud. Okay, so without any further ado, so today is Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. Let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. What happened on this day in Nietzsche history? Leto left us. Well, he was driving to work. He's probably at work by now. So let's see. There we go. That's the first. So the first stop we're going to make, we're going to go back 70 years ago today. On this date, 70 years ago. Yeah, in fact, I should probably, but I know you guys probably can't see that as well. All right, so that's a little bit better. On this date, 70 years ago today, um, long before they came out with their own company, William Hanna and Joseph Barbera working with MGM Studios, and they were doing Tom and Jerry cartoons. On this date, back in 1951, 70 years ago today, um, they their cartoon Jerry's Cousin um, premiered in theaters. The MGM cartoon Jerry's Cousin, Tom and Jerry cartoon Jerry's Cousin premiered on this date back in 1951. Jerry's cousin featured the introduction of his cousin Muscles. I don't know if you guys may remember who Muscles is. He hears us in his heart. Um, Muscles Mouse, Jerry Mouse's cousin, was kind of his tough guy cousin. You know, you guys remember he had the green little derby hat, had that yellow shirt with the black stripe around it. Eventually beat up Tom so much that eventually he got Tom to start kissing his feet every day. He'd stick his foot out, Tom would start kissing it, and then stick his other foot out. And then, after Muscles left, of course, he gave his hat and shirt to Jerry, and then Tom started kissing Jerry's feet. so, so on this date, 70 years ago, there, Hanna-Barbera, Hanna-Barbera's MGM cartoon, Jerry's Cousin, um, premiered. Out loud. Okay, so anyways, moving on to the next piece of niche history here. Let me see. On this day in 2010, 11 years ago today, the penultimate issue of Cable, the 25th issue, the second to last issue of Cable, went on sale on this date 11 years ago today. For $3.99, it was 48 pages. The story was Two Mutants and a Baby, written by Dwayne Dworzynski, penciled by Paco Medina, Juan Velasco as the inker, Joe Cartagena as the letterer, and Edgar Delgado as the colorist. So on this date, 11 years ago today, the 25th and penultimate issue of Cable went on sale from Marvel Comics. There you go. And then, and of course, we're back down to one viewer again. Ugh. Okay, so anyways, let's see, and let's see. We have a couple more, obviously. Let me see here. I think just get in comics. So on this date, 10 years ago today, in 2011, the OVA series, Five Numbers, premiered. It was originally produced by Sunrise. It was licensed in North America by Sentai Filmworks. So the OVA Five Numbers premiered on this date in 2011, 10 years ago today. And finally, last piece in each is a bit more of a sadder piece. Robert Wyndham, better known to wrestling fans as Blackjack Mulligan, the patriarch, of course, of the Wyndham family, father of former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Barry, and as well as Kendall Wyndham, as well as the grandfather of current WWE stars Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas, passed away on this date 5 years ago at the age of 73. Blackjack, Robert Wyndham, aka Blackjack Mulligan, was of course a WWE Hall of Famer, former WWF World Tag Team Champion with his tag team partner in the Blackjacks, Blackjack Lanza, as well as with Lanza winning the Indianapolis's World Wrestling Association World Tag Team titles as well as NWA American Tag Team titles in Big Time Wrestling in Dallas. So on this date 5 years ago today, Robert Wyndham, aka Black Jack Mulligan, passed away. So still here, Mike. Yeah. Counter's just screw. I know. Ha ha ha. All right, guys. Well, that's that's it for tonight. I thank you guys again for joining me. Thank you for all the likes and shares. Hopefully, we can get some more people in here at some point. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.